I'm going to do a pan in.
Okay, and action. I am here today with Chris McNamara. And I've been trying to get a hold of Chris for a couple of weeks. He's a busy, busy dude. And
There's no shy.
yeah, so thanks so much for joining my show. This is about my fifth or sixth interview. And you and I were just talking a minute ago. So a lot of people know who you are, some don't. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about where you come from and how you got into real estate. That's my first
Uh,
question.
sure. Those who know me, my name's Chris McNamara. Those who don't know me, I'm still Chris McNamara. I got into this crazy business the way that most folks on the East Coast do. I was a ski bum and found out it was easier to make money by fixing houses than it was by fly fishing. And so I started to build houses that way. As I moved, I've always been just a jitterbug when it comes to traveling. We were kids and we lived in, shoot, I think like Alabama, Germany, France, Switzerland, Kentucky, Massachusetts, all the greats before I was 6 years old. My dad was in the military. So we were always moving around. And I carried that forward when I graduated from high school. And since I had a little bit of a builder background, I started doing that. And no matter what, when we were building houses, the same person would always show up like about 3 days before certificate of occupancy, and it was a real estate agent. They pull up in like a Ford 750 with a super tall coffee and a pair of gorgeously stain-free khakis, and would want 5 or 6%, or even be as bold as to ask for 7%. And at that point, I never knew what the heck they did all day. I just felt they held open houses and drank coffee, or sometimes the two things at the same time, because you can multitask, right? And we decided, all right, so one of us needs to get our real estate license just to stop these people from stopping by our places. And then started to kind of sort of get a knack for it. And fast forward, however many years, I think roughly 300 years forward, internet came out. I ended up getting paired up with just a great sphere of influence on people that were internet savvy, and they were just techno natives like myself, where they grew up with it and were tossed into it, where we do it on our free time. So I figured out how to make those two worlds mesh. Traditional real estate, HTML, traditional real estate websites where you had to register, and where that was my beginning. I started to break it down to a lot of the things we do offline. Started off with skills we learned how to do offline. So if we can make this time, that time, if we can make this conversational skill, just like when you were doing this, great. So we started to build classes around that, building a lot of classes that people attended, caught the eye of a couple of folks at MAPS, and they invited me to come audition to be a MAPS coach, which was really neat, Mark. When's the last time you auditioned for something? Like besides...
Probably junior high school.
Yeah, right. Like
and now they call it middle school. I just dated myself. Middle school.
Well, if you're like me during high school, you dated yourself quite a bit.
I did a lot of that, yes, absolutely.
So it was just a complete rush, and they have a very high set of standards for us, and it was a deluge. Like when you go through and you get tested on the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, it's like medical school and a Vegas weekend, and I just reignited this fire of learning a lot of stuff and interviewing a lot of people and applying it towards large groups of people, and then seeing the results from that, where I really found out that I love working for light bulbs and triggers. And that's what brought me here to you today, is being a MAPS tech coach, to a MAPS mastery coach, to being a bold coach, to now a group coaching coach. And a couple times actually, I actually flew coach. So coach has just been a big part of my life all through.
And I'm sorry to admit, you just told me, and so we can announce it, that you've retired from bold coaching, which for those people who aren't familiar with bold, I'm sorry, I've been fighting a cold, but it's an amazing program, and Chris is, by far one of the best bold instructors I've ever seen. I've only been through it a couple of times, but you have to fasten your seatbelt for Chris's class, and Chris is moving here, and the rest of us are back here. It takes us a second or two to kind of catch up to half of his jokes, but tell me about that experience and what that's meant to you, to your career. And talk to us about the preparation you did for bold, because that's really an interesting, amazing story.
Well, let's start there, because again, I'm flattered that you think that highly of me.
Oh, I do.
That each one of the bold coaches seriously has such a high caliber of not only training, also just grasp of the material that Diana Kokoska wrote for us. I would love to say that I will put myself behind the shadows of the other coaches that are there, only because we continue to work at it. And I'll start off with, when we auditioned, I can remember we were a new class that was coming in. There was about 11 of us that came in, and it was remember the first 10 minutes, a lot of, let's say, big egos in the room of people who've done some incredible things. About 4 or 5 of them had been 30 under 30, people doing 150, 200 units a year that wanted to present this material that Diana had written and put together. In the first 10 minutes, we all realized that we we didn't know a thing. We went through, like Laban movements, how to talk to a room of 300 or 400, where everybody feels like they're the only person who's being spoken to. Things like embedded commands and little bits of neurolinguistic programming, or just skills on presenting to a crowd, as well as how to train, as well as how to coach while you're training in front of that large crew. I will still always be a student. Again, 10,000 hours of mastery. Right. I've still got a huge chunk of time in front of me. What was great about it, and Mark, this might answer the first question, was what caused me to step forward with the audition was that maybe you're like me, where when you got into business, you just had this picture in your mind of what it should look like, and that's how it's going to be. And if I hire somebody, it's my way or the highway, and I built the highway, so you've only got one choice. And if you don't make it, we're going to have a short meeting with a cardboard box and a ficus plant, and you're fired. Pretty cool business formula. Yeah. So if you don't do it the way that I do it, then right. you're fired.
Out of here.
That'd be great. Keep the team building T-shirt, and that's your party gift. The hurdle is that the Earth is filled with 7 billion people, and not everybody's going to be like you. What I found was, while being a coach and instructor in a large room, where it's not just we're going to be together for 2 hours, kind of the speed dating idea. It was 7 weeks of 7 hours at a time. And you started to figure out the nuances and where this person was great, and maybe they were limping over here. They could still build a great business out of that, where they could really fund their truly perfect life. Or if this person over here is just fantastic at building business, and yet the 128 hours besides when they're at work was maybe a little bit empty. They right. kept vacationing to that place that Brian Tracy talks about. Someday I'll right. like someday I'll take a vacation. Someday right. I'll take Zumba lessons, or someday I'll learn how to surf. It was just a really cool platform for figuring out who people are on the other side. Like if you don't know Mark that well, Mark gets up super early every single morning to go work out. And one of the things I like to do as a control freak is show up to the bowl room really, really early to get up.
Yes, you do.
Set up just so. What was really neat, though, was that Mark was able to still meet me there and get in his workout in the morning.
Yeah, priorities, right?
Well, sometimes that's more important. I mean,
right.
Let's face it, we're not getting any younger.
Right.
Come on, science, catch up. We're not,
right.
not getting any younger. Let's find limits still. And you really do figure out what people's priority is.
Yeah.
I mean, no matter what, you're not going to miss that workout.
Right.
And I think there are a lot of analogies in business towards that. Like, people prioritize really well when they're about to go on vacation.
Right.
When the first 3 weeks in a 36 or 48 month business build out, we start to show up a little bit different. I think that'll always just spark curiosity in me. Sometimes frustration, mostly curiosity.
So what'd you learn about yourself being a bold coach?
There's a difference between being nervous and excited. There's a difference between being frustrated and overwhelmed. I found out that you can't peg people. You shouldn't peg people. You can't peg people, and you won't peg people. I used to pride myself. We'd get all Glenn Ross up before our open house. And if you haven't seen the movie, number one, shame on you. Number two, it's where you picture that salesperson in your head, and you dress just like them, and people walk into your house, you know exactly who they are in the first 5 seconds.
Right.
It's old school. What's it going to take to get you into a car today?
Right.
And yet when you start to ask questions, not only they usually have a pretty cool story, number two, it's never what you think it is. And especially in real estate, where, let's face it, this isn't the first lily pad most people jump on. Very few people, on career day went to see the real estate agent. You usually went to see the astronaut or the ice
Right.
the ice
Right.
cream man.
Right.
Both
Being a
those
real estate agent at career day can be lonely.
being a real estate agent on any day can be lonely, depending on
That's
what you
funny.
advertise it.
That's funny.
And so, what's super cool though is, there's one person I met who used to be a reporter for Rolling Stone. There's a another friend of mine who was uh, basically the mentee of Sonny Bono for, gosh, over 15 years, and all these really cool stories that you could have searched for, all over, Facebook or wherever. You're never going to get it until you meet somebody in person. You're never going to get it until they spend, 30 minutes with you and realize, okay, this person's not just attempting to sell me. They're making eye contact while they're talking with me.
Right. Right.
And really, that was it took somebody who used to say I had attention deficit disorder to, nope, I just wasn't being interested. I was too busy attempting to be interesting.
Aaron
So
Kaufman, I talked to him last week. He said ADD is a gift for him. He said I have ADD. It's been a gift for me because he's so he's constantly looking for opportunity, and he said ADD was a gift. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
it's funny you bring that up. We interviewed a mega agent out of Round Rock, Texas, 2 weeks ago. His name's Robert Fisher. Robert Fisher team. If you get a chance to meet him, great guy, super humble. And he said, I believe that a great memory in this business can be a detriment.
Yeah.
He said, because you're not going to write things down, you're not going to set up a system to remember it or to take care of that information. And it rings true. I kept going back through my notes, reading it over and over again. And when we're students in high school or students in college, or even if we take like a night class, man, we're writing stuff down super quick because we want to remember it. And there's part of us when we get into life where we think, all right, well, I'm just going to remember that. Oh, that's a good thing. I ought to remember that quote. Your brain wasn't put in your body so that you could remember stuff. It was put in your body so you could think.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever you believe in gave you the good grace to have a hand so you could write it down. And I think that the more and more we write things down, the more and more we become systematized.
So, what did you learn about others, and what did you take from the bold experience that you'll keep with you going forward?
I think the biggest thing is that there is no one business. There is a model to follow. And for me to mature to understand what that meant, it meant that, if you've got a business and it's going to involve 2 hours of lead generation every single day, and you're going to set appointments and you're going to negotiate contracts, though that doesn't change. How you do that is really fueled by why you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
There are some people who won't pick up their $800 smartphone because they're afraid of getting rejected. Yet if you told them to collect sleeping bags for the local, homeless shelter,
right,
they can make 30 or 40 contacts. No big deal. There are some people who they won't go door knocking, yet they'll hold such a gorgeous open house and make you feel like, you're walking on velvet. To get more people through the door, that just door knocking makes sense. And it's almost like backing into the solution of, oh, all right, now I see why I do that. And
right.
Simon Sinek talks about the why being the most important question. I think that sometimes until we explore that at a deeper level, instead of just taking the bumper sticker, trite surface level meaning of it, we won't figure out what it is. And I think that's where a lot of these courses and why mentoring and why going to shadow other mega agents becomes so powerful, is because you don't just see the front of the house. Those of you who worked in the restaurant, those are the waiters and the good bartenders and the extremely friendly hostesses. The back of the house is where the ugly dishwashers hang out.
Right. The grinders.
The passive aggressive chefs hang out, or whatever the people who stock the kitchen that maybe just they've got the systems nailed. It just may not have the lipstick and rouge on it that you're thinking, all right, well, that's what I need there. And I think that's really where the benefit is we've got to change what our perception of what attractive is based off of, all right, what's going to not just get me there quickly, what's going to return me to that? What's going to be my rate of return on things over and over again?
Right.
So, we this week we did a database example with 3x5 cards going back to build Gary in the Box. Where imagine if a zombie apocalypse happens and you get your stores together, and yet you're still going to sell real estate because zombies need a place to live too. So how do you create one of those systems, put together, And so I spread out, 1,000 index cards and made my labels, hand-printed labels, and started to go through it. And it's neat because all these light bulbs started going off in my head of, oh yeah, if she doesn't live in Florida anymore, or he's not married to her anymore, probably don't want to send him a postcard with her name on it. And all these epiphanies, we've heard them a billion times. And
Right.
somebody smarter than me once said, we don't need to be taught as much as we need to be reminded. That was the power of that experience, and we see it in business over and over again.
That's great. What's your big why?
Really change the legacy of how my kids see the world. There's one of my favorite authors out there, Matthew Kelly. He starts off most of his speeches with how we see the world is how we live our life. And what's been really, really fun for me being a bold instructor is coming home and you go from a room where literally people jump when you tell them to a house full of 5 people. I'm not that.
No one's listening to you.
If they have their headphones out, sometimes.
That's
and there's
funny.
a series of why questions after that. Why can't we just eat the marshmallows out of the Lucky Charms? Because that's the best part. Why can't we stay up to 11 o'clock as you and Mom are doing it? It's a big old shiny mirror, and that you definitely have to walk the walk. So I think that my 5 biggest coaches are the people who share my last name, that live in this house of learning and humility that I go back to every day.
That's great. Hey,
so 4 kids. Why, by the way, that's why Mark said I'm such a busy guy. It's because if I don't get out of the house, there's laundry to be done, there's floors to be swept. You have to build a bunker wherever you can.
So if I'm a new agent and I come to you and I say, Chris, I want to jumpstart my career. I want to get into production really quickly. What's a couple things that you would tell that person to do tomorrow?
Tomorrow would be scheduling boot camp. First thing, we would start out really early in the morning, 6:30. And the reason why is because that's really the first bunker that you get to build is when nobody else has gotten up.
Right.
Here in California, it varies, and yet most of the time, well, you know the story there, Mark. Either way, at 6:30, you're just at your best physiologically. That's how you're designed. So wake up early in the morning, and you're going to book out your next 4 weeks, which is going to be 2 open houses for Saturday and Sunday, and 2 networking events for whatever time during the week. Because the idea is to get you in front of as many people as possible. Not necessarily to sell as many houses as possible, just to get you in front of as many people as you can. And when you have an open house, you've got a reason, you've got an invitation to bring people to. If you've got a networking function, you're going to be in an environment where it's okay to meet people and ask dorky questions so that you get that out of your system. And then just really, you're going to grab 2 legal pads and start to write everybody's name, email address, phone number, and birthday down. And as you're starting to do that, it's important to go preview property. So second thing I would do is once we hit 8 o'clock, once you've got that scheduled, we're going to set up you previewing, 20 properties at least every single week. And between those 2 things and your cell phone, just calling people and letting people know, hey, listen, I'm previewing this property. Because, if you're like me, you watch a lot of agents and a lot of business owners. When you hear real estate, bam, they think HGTV, they think taking a look at properties. That's the most exciting part.
Right.
So there's about 6 psychological triggers that are out there. The first one, though, is that idea of salience, saying the right thing at the right time. And so if you're talking about gorgeous houses or houses you're walking through, no matter where people are in their stage of life or where they are in that neighborhood, they'll want to know, hey, what did the house look like? What was something unique? Did it have, my wife saw 2 bathrooms right next to one, like 2 toilets right next to one another in the last house she previewed. No matter who you are, there's a story there. I want to hear about that, even if it's not going to be a 5-minute conversation. So whatever's going to spurn that reason to have that conversation with as many people in my sphere of influence as possible, I'm going to put myself in that path. So and then 9 o'clock hits, you start picking up the phone and inviting people to hear about what your experiences are.
Yeah, you said something that was really interesting because you said, have conversations where I'm paraphrasing, it's kind of dorky or you stumble or whatever. Because I think a lot of new agents are afraid to make mistakes or to stumble. And unfortunately, it's something you have to get through. You've got to stumble through in the beginning to get to that point. And so I think a lot of agents get stopped at the gate because they're afraid. Have you ever been afraid of calling or making a call? You ever had call reluctance?
Oh my gosh, all the time.
And what do you do to overcome that?
Here's the fun part. There's that change of being nervous to excited. You take a look at the name. You either know who they are or think you know who they are, or you don't. And then you just first thing I'll do is pick up the phone. I'm not going to start thinking until I pick up the phone, because your brain works in a completely different aspect is when you get to sit and stare at the phone and think, here's what the perfect situation would be. Instead, dial the number and then start thinking. Or, heck, you may even have scripts up in front of you.
Right.
And yet, if we're talking about new agents, we'll get there. The first thing would be, there's 3 reasons why you make every call. Here we go. Number 1, build rapport. Number 2, ask for referral. Number 3, set an appointment. That's
Right,
it. So
right.
if you haven't built rapport with anybody, it's going to take a particular personality style to say, hey, Mark, listen, I pulled your name off the list here really quick. A lot of my clients are really seeing the benefit of reviewing portfolios of investment property. Mark, tell me really quick, if you found the right investment property in the next year, would that be something you'd be open to?
Yeah, sure.
Great. Where have you been going on vacation lately?
Went to Hawaii last year.
Why, fantastic. How about before that? And I'd stop script right there. I mean, if I have that personality style, I can do that. If I don't know you yet, though, Mark, first thing I would do is just find out a little bit more about you. Mark, what do we have in common? I'm going to connect with you. Either over a person we have in common, a situation we have in common, an area, a zip code, whatever. And I'm going to be okay with throwing a couple jabs. Hey, Mark, listen, I saw your name here on the list that you live locally in Palm Springs. Hey, by any chance, do you go down to the community center for those great Zumba classes on Tuesday?
Every Thursday.
You're a great script
You and
partner.
Zumba.
Yet,
You got to get you off that Zumba.
yeah, even if I have no idea, I'm going to be okay with you saying no.
Right.
Because number 1, it may not be for you. I'm telling you something about myself, though. It's a poker tell. I'm okay with daring to stink in front of you.
Right.
Number 3, if you do know somebody who say they're looking for investment and they're just knocked down crazy about Zumba, now I've just created a referral platform.
Right. Yeah, that's good. So what's next for Chris McNamara now that you're a retired bold coach?
Well, we've stepping back from going to do bold events. I'll still always be in huge support of the program, because
Sure.
got the guys and gals who go out and do that. It's just a very, very impactful boot camp. I've seen people change their lives based off of a 5-minute coaching conversation, because they gave themselves permission and invested in the time to be there. What's next for us here, though, is one of the programs that evolved out of bold was my business partner Steve Schleter and I. We do this exercise in bold called the Yellow Pages exercise, where you go through and you make business-to-business contacts. You do it in a very organized, systematic way. And we started to really sense that a lot of people, when they were putting together their call lists, it was kind of like speed dating. You're just looking around the room. Who's going to make eye contact? All right, I'll write them down. Versus having an organized database or set of call lists or book of relationships or sphere of input, whatever you call it. Having an organized one of those, well, it gives people just a more definitive target. Number 2, when they can track how they built that relationship, now they know how they can recreate it. So now they can start to build out their book of business. Right. Number 3, we can start to, once you write it down on paper, you can start to diagnose, okay, if this didn't work out well here, how do I tweak it? How do I shift it? Just by 5%. Not, I'm going to go away and do that 80s montage that you and I talked about, where Friday I put on a headband and some headphones and I go out and run 14 miles, and on Monday I show up and I've got 6-pack abs. Not like that. Something where, all right, Mark, what's the number 1 call to action you see on most flyers that are out there?
The number 1 call to action. You try, buy now, call me, call
Yep.
Joe.
More information.
Call me.
All those, which is great, except for, if we have no rapport with that person, if you think it's hard for us to pick up a phone, imagine somebody who's not in sales looking at their phone saying, you know what, I'm going to pick the phone and call a salesperson today. I've got 20 minutes to hear a pitch.
Right.
Because I'm psyched. I've got my popcorn right here. Bring me to the show, Mark. Nobody says that.
Right.
So instead, give them a very, very clear call to action. Call me today for showing times this Saturday at 10 o'clock or 12 o'clock. Call me to find out the top 3 houses you want your mother-in-law to move into, or the top 3 that you wouldn't want her to move into. And being just very, very straightforward about what you want that flyer to do. Is it an informational kiosk, or is it a driver to get people back towards your website or your mobile app? And if you've got a schedule where you're not going to work 24/7, let them know the times to call you. It's like your voicemail is your number 1 flyer that's out there, because it means your marketing works.
Right.
People are calling you, so
Sure.
Take it one step further. Hey, listen, you called Chris today. Hit 1 to go directly to voicemail. Today I'll be returning your call between 12 and 1, or 4 o'clock and 5 o'clock. Listen, I look forward to making your call. Best call today.
That's good stuff.
And, hey, are texts okay? Because
Yeah.
I'm going to assume texts are okay with you. If they're not, just quickly text me no.
Yeah, you mentioned that in that last database class, and a lot of people are putting that into in working the text side of it, using text, and seem to be having some really good some good contacts with that. Where am I going with this? But yeah, anyway. So
Well, yeah, and here's why really is it's not that we're replacing face-to-face contact. In
right,
fact, you'll never be able to.
right,
There are studies right now that Stanford and Harvard are doing to show that something as simple as typing notes, you retain less information because when you type, your brain goes into auto mode. If you solely communicate with somebody through text, it's great because you've got a 97% open rate on text. The hurdle is if you're doing something as important like talking to somebody about their finances
right,
or showing them houses, and
right,
that's a level of intimacy they start to equate with working with you.
right,
You're now like Max Headroom from 1980s Pepsi
right,
commercials. They
right.
can just, if you don't respond, they'll just find somebody else to text them.
Right, right.
Just,
That belly to belly, face to face will never be replaced.
yep, you're going to get swiped right on more so
Right,
than you care.
right, right. Exactly. Well, we're almost out of time. I promised I wouldn't take too much of your time, so I have two more questions. One is going to be difficult for you to answer because
It's
you're
in,
it's
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 in,
a one word only answer. So what is
ouch.
the one,
That's my word
what
already.
is the one
But it's like
word
Italian.
what is the one word that you would use to describe the reason for your success thus far? One word.
Curiosity.
Now you get to explain it.
Nope, that's all you get. I think, I mean, curiosity is when you take a look at any situation where somebody else sees it as a problem, you're thinking, all right, how do we make that thing work?
Right.
I was a little kid. I used to take apart a bunch of stuff that worked and make it not work. And I turned somewhere around 35. I started to switch that around. I think when you're curious, when you ask more questions, you get the whole story. You become an investigative reporter, and that way, it's either a story or it's not a story. Yet the other person gets to talk as much as you do.
Right.
And while sometimes as the guy in the front of the room, that may seem contrary to what I do, I'd much rather sit down and have a beer with you, Mark, and ask you two to
Yeah.
three questions
Yeah.
all night long.
Right. And I think you just hit the nail on the head. It's all about listening to the people on the other side of that conversation and really being present and listening to what they're saying to you, and then keying in on those and making that a real conversation. I think we get so caught up in trying to make the calls and getting through the script and that we forget it's another human being on the other end of the phone or at the other side of the door, right?
On top of that, surround yourself with other people who not only will ask you questions, you've also given them permission to say, "Hey, hold on a sec.
Right.
Let's hear what else they have to say."
Right.
Fierce Conversations with
Yeah.
Susan Scott's a course that I'm going through right now, and just we're not allowed to say this, so I'm glad my kids aren't here. This is a forbidden phrase in our house: is just shut up and
Right.
let them talk for a little bit.
Right.
Because there's usually more story after that pregnant pause there, especially if you're able to hold out a little bit longer. Do that whole two-word psychologist thing where they're like, "Oh, well, we haven't been on vacation in a while since I left my job." Left your job? And then wait, because there's a great story coming after that.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's good. And then the other question is, and then I will let you go.
Because I've got some surfing to do.
Yes, you do. So, or painting. That's beautiful. Did you paint that yourself?
I commissioned it from a postmortem boss.
So if you could place a phone call to your 20-year-old self and give your 20-year-old self some advice based on what you've learned thus far in your young life, what would you tell your 20-year-old self?
Oh, that is a good question. Huh. Man, there's one of those pregnant pauses.
Could be twins.
I'm gonna hold on. I'm gonna write that down. On my phone. I think it would be really, it would be get over yourself. Meet more people and get over yourself. There was a big portion of my life where I was we called it government ski club, where I would just go skiing and I would hop on a chairlift with somebody I didn't know, and I'd put my headphones in and my hood up, And we had this game. We just yup people to death whenever they asked us a question because they'd be attempting to connect with you on the chairlift. You just yup, yup, give them a one-word answer. I probably missed out on some great relationships by being too cool for school. So get over yourself. Stop by that Home Depot, grab some wood, build a bridge, and get over it.
I love that. I love that saying. I use it all the time. Hey, well, I'm going to say that I'm sorry to hear that you've retired from Bold, but I know you're going to be on to, I don't want to say bigger and better things, but certainly you're going to be on to more big things in your life. If you never got the chance to go to a Chris McNamara Bold class, you missed out. It was just you really did a great job, and I know everybody in the class that I attended is forever grateful for all you did for them and for us. So I also appreciate you taking your time. I know you're busy, so I'll let you go see your family and enjoy the weather. Is it raining in Orange County today?
Wait 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I say usually you can tell the weather if it's dropped below 60. Go check out Sports Authority or see how the North Face jacket rack doing. Because if it's dropped below 60, everybody's getting ready for the zombie apocalypse.
I love it. Anyway, thank you so much. Have a great afternoon, and I really appreciate your time.
Hey, Mark, listen, it was always a pleasure. Happy to share it. If you need anything, feel free to call me directly. This will be one of the few times my voicemail won't go to 30,000 feet.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, buddy. Take care. Thank you.
See you folks. Bye.
All right, bye.